Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the US World Cup 2025 round of 16 weekend. We're heading into our last block of matches for the day. Starting off in the losers side, it's going to be number 22 overall seed Finland taking on number 39 seeded Peru in a matchup of teams that had really interesting routes to get here, which we will surely discuss in just a moment. For now, I'm this one guy. Joining me today for this match is going to be none other than my esteemed colleague, Bubbleman. Good afternoon, Bubbleman. How are we feeling today?
Absolutely glorious day today, Aaron. There's been some good matches today. I've had a blast watching them myself. I'm sure you have too, the ones you've caught at least. And this one, I don't think is going to be any less. It's Finland versus Peru. Firstly, these guys went absolutely crazy in both of their groups, right? Peru winning twice, getting out of that almost group of death with Portugal, Ukraine, Kazakhstan, eking it out, and, well, the stat line says they're the lowest seed to ever qualify for the OSU World Cup, right? Or qualify for the bracket stage, at least. And it's not to say that they don't have the ability to perform in it either. They're looking good, they're looking on form, aren't looking great as ever, but has the backup. And then Finland on the other side, they missed out on an unfortunate seeding tiebreaker instead of a head-to-head tiebreaker to end up down here. Of course, could have been Romania that could have been in this position with head-to-head was used. It's not seeding, it's Finland. So they are down, but not out at all. They're looking to make a run up the losers bracket. And the form they were on in their group, also pretty stellar, honestly.
Yeah, I was one of, I think, many who were pleasantly surprised to see Peru making it through group stages. You know, as you said, number 39 seed, not generally a team that you'd expect to see make it through. But Arnold, man, number one overall performer in the group stage, really did put the team kind of on his back, got the support he needed from players like Sape and from Pra and Migis. But Finland, I think, feel like a team with a little bit more depth, not quite the standout performers. Instead, they rely on multiple members to provide, you know, really, really solid gameplay. And I think it's going to be an interesting matchup in that regard of, you know, Finland likely looking to maps where their team depth will suit them well. Peru probably looking for maps where they can show off what Arnold is capable of, as, you know, that ridiculous 1.6 performance score in group stages, 21 of 21 maps played, would indicate.
You know,
I
understand where that came from. I get it. Do you you know what seed that is that Peru have got?
What's that?
It's Miku. For the number one Miku star in the world, I think. It's giving him superpowers, man. It's giving him superpowers. That's where the number one group's performance came from.
I didn't think about that. That's pretty funny, actually. Yeah, number 39. Yeah, he had the username for a while there, right before he changed back.
Like MG Hatsune Miku.
Hatsune Miku, yeah. Boy, I cannot believe I feel silly not having made that connection. But we're gonna go to our ban phase here. We have the Nomad 1 ban from Finland, the DT3 ban from Peru. Thoughts on those as the bans? Because I don't know if that's what I would have expected from these teams.
Yeah, little surprised at the Nomad 1 ban. They don't have a shared score on that map, and I think that's one of the few from group stages where they don't have a shared score. There are others, a couple of free mods. The Hard Rocks, they don't share any scores either. But of course, Nomad 1 being Nomad 1, it hasn't changed. There is no different skill set being tested there. It is a Nomad 1, as we've seen in 2021, as we've seen in 2018. Deciding not to go into that one, not trusting the overall team consistency on the mechanics, and aiming to go instead for other stuff. What do we got? DT3 for Peru, though. What are we thinking about that one? Because, honestly, I see the 3 scores from them in group stage. It's a very different map, firstly, but not too different to be inaccessible for the Peruvian roster, right? Arnold FCing every time he played it. Team-wise, they did outscore Finland on that by a fair margin on their best run. But I guess not wanting to risk maybe going on a slight underperformance. Fremod 2, though, picked. Similar in nature, way lower BPM, but way lower approach rate. What's your thoughts on that?
I think I definitely see where you're coming from as Peru, opting into anti-mod with a player like Arnold on your team. They did not play, or they didn't pick themselves into the Hidden 2 in the group stage. They did play it a couple times, both of their scores lower than both of Finland's scores, so in the sense of the Ngoe are hidden aspect of an anti-mod pick, not necessarily the greatest. Didn't play the Precision Hard Rock, I don't believe, at all, so we don't really have a feeling for what they'll be like on the smaller circle size. But I think if you're Peru, you've got, at least one player who is going to be super confident on this type of map. And again, you don't want to pick into stuff where all 4 members of Finland will potentially be comfortable. You want to pick into something that gives you and your carry players, I think, the best chance of carrying. And maybe to them, that's represented by this pick.
I think we are going into this a little blind, as maybe other teams. Picking it because it's a banger, maybe? Easing them into the match? Of course, everyone loves a little bit of Magdalena Bay. Great album. Great song off the album.
The song that was picked in LGA, that was mapped as a custom map there, is probably my favorite song on that album, but maybe that's a very normie opinion of me.
You know what? You're allowed to like the things you like, okay?
I will say, backing up a sec to the bans, I'm very surprised to see Peru banning the DT3 instead of either the Nomad 2 or the DT2. It felt like they had real problems with tapping in the group stage in a way Finland did not. So I'm curious if that will possibly come back to bite them if Finland opts into the couple of tapping picks in the pool going forward in this match. Just wanted to touch on that before we get too far past it.
Yeah, I think we could see 2 picks picked up pretty quickly. Maybe a third if the DT1 is not in form from Peru. This, though, I'm looking at the No Mod 3 score, honestly, and honestly, it's doable. I could see it. Comparison scores are 50-50 for the 2, but with the solid Arnold's performance on this, I reckon he'll go hard hidden. Definitely hidden. The rest of the team can put up performances too. It's not overly mechanically intensive, so nobody's locked out of it by skill cap or anything. I reckon a fair first pick.
Yeah, definitely thinking that this is going to be a good way to start this match off. It is a map that I feel should be competitive between these teams. So we'll get in. It's Colin Liu on the Hidden, Zeppe on the Hard Rock, Sevilju and Allard E on the Nomad. Pra Migis on the Nomads for Peru with Hard Rock on Sape Sape and, as expected, Hidden on Arnold. Incredibly strong low AR Hidden player. Will be always the one to watch out for Peru. And this is going to be, I think, a roster that we're going to see a lot of for that team. They were largely a 4-man team in the group stage. The other 4 members all playing 4 or fewer maps across all 3 matches. So Peru, a team with this roster pretty locked and loaded. And it is early breaks from a couple of players already. Kalanlu for Finland and Sape Sape for Peru. So mod player for each team down in the early goings. Going to be pretty evenly matched into the first kind of quarter in some of these low AR snappy patterns.
This map does feel very comfortable on the No mod. It's got this sort of smooth feeling to it. I don't know if you'd agree with that, but it's set out very well, very structured, to the point where reading it does just feel natural despite the lower approach rate. Add Hard Rock, add Hidden though, of course the problems start showing themselves, as they have with Arnold's. FC now gone. A couple of the No mods missing as well. Advantage to Finland, but it's the carry player, I think, down for Peru that everyone is going to be thinking about.
Yeah, Arnold having a little bit of trouble. A few breaks already, as well as that miss from Migis a couple times now. Colin Liu having some difficulty on Finland, though, on the Hidden. Only the one FC left per team. And the superior backing combo is on Peru. It is Sape Sape backing up Praz FC better than either any member of Finland is backing up Zepe's FC. And it's going to keep this one close. It's actually going the way of Peru. There goes Sape Sape, though, and that goes the backing combo. And now Finland can take the advantage over, hitting the halfway mark. Zepe still holding that Hard Rock FC, and that lead just shy of 60K, but it will continue to build. You do have a solid 550-plus combo in LRD to back it up, and that is going to exceed that of Miggy's Arnold, backing up Praz Nomad FC. Also some Gorak, but there goes the FC from Zepe, and now it's Pra to watch.
Yeah, it's looking tight. Pra exceeding his runs on Chocolate Disco. This not AR7, AR 8.5, far more comfortable with this, but does find the miss, drops the combo that he'd been holding. Aled now in control of where this lead goes because of the backup combos matching each other from either team.
Miggy's and Arnold doing what they can. Allergy falls. Yeah, Miggy's on the squares.
Oh.
Those squares are brutal, man. I'm surprised he was the only one to fall there. But now you've got Civildu and Kalanlu on the big combo for Finland, and just Arnold left for Peru. And that is probably going to do it for this map. We're about to reach 200,000 points. Finland looking pretty comfortable here.
It is easy to slip up on these sliders. They do have ticks in them, as Miguis does drop. But no further slip-ups found. Seviliu dropping the combo at the end of that section, but no more circles afterwards means 176k is looking pretty secure. Can I just mention that slider, though, by the way? That's my Devious Panda living up to his name.
The slow slider. That is going to be a break point to open up proceedings for Peru in losing their first pick. Finland into their own first pick to try to consolidate. And hey, guess what? You guys, yeah. Finland saying you guys left up both tapping maps in the pool. We're gonna go straight into it. It's Nomad 2, bam, just like that. 256 BPM, speedy pick for the team that I think on paper is very, very favored in this skill set.
Mildly different to what was going on in groups. More comparable to the DT2, I would say. Elder things back in the group stage. 22nd for Finland, 40th for Peru. It was a 800k advantage on paper. If we look at the Nomad 2 as well, Finland placing, both teams playing this 3 times, featuring every match each team played. But Finland placing within 5 placements of each other in every score. Tiny score range, anywhere from 3.35 to 3.44 million. Peru, though, down by 1 million on that. So yeah, this is their skill set. This is their map to lose, in all honesty.
Yeah, as I said before, I was surprised not to see Peru banning out either of the speedy tapping picks in this pool with that information that you just gave us in mind. It is not something that looks great for them. It really felt like Peru was third sometimes, and definitely 4th player syndromed on those maps in the group stage. And these are the ones where you're going to see some of these less common players coming in as well. You're going to see Foka coming in, you're going to see Iki coming in, really on the team exclusively for this specific skill set. Finland, meanwhile, Amasetic, Vaden, Zepe, and is it Isaac? I'm sorry if it's Isaac or Isak. I have asked and not gotten a response on that one. Maybe somebody knows better than I. But a tapping roster that did quite well, as you mentioned, in the group stage, playing the Nomad 2 3 different times and always finishing with very, very solid scores. So I don't want to say it's a foregone conclusion because it's not over until it's over. You got to play the map, but this does feel very, very heavily Finland favored as we get into it. We'll find out pretty quickly because this map really does not let up very much at all over the course of its near 3.5-minute length.
It does start out pretty immediately. The longer bursts waste no time in appearing. God of War caught out in the intro, but Isak following. It's honestly, I gotta talk about the pressure, honestly, in a setting like this. This is elimination time. In a group stage, you get 3 matches, you get 3 attempts. You can blunder one of them and think, okay, let's reset, let's reassess. Here, you get 1 shot at each map. And you only get 4 maps picked in each match for each team, so do or die on everything.
It does appear to be Finland and Peru really both doing rather than dying so far. You had the early break from Isak, you've got a break from Foka, Gardevoir breaking right at the beginning. Other than that, it's some pretty solid combo being built back up now. Three-way FC still alive for Finland.
You were talking about 4-player syndrome, Aaron, and Foka, the accuracy is not looking happy.
84. He still holds so well. It's Iki to be the one breaking. He had broken previously, of course, but Iki the one to break there. Yeah, I just feel this is the struggle of being a lower-seeded, smaller population country in this game. Is you're going to struggle to find players to fill certain skill sets sometimes. And unfortunately, despite Arnold being one of the better tournament speed players out there, he just doesn't have the roster around him to support it. 86 Ack, Foka still barely holding the combo. Iki with several breaks, not going to do what Peru needs. Meanwhile, Finland, Amasetic, Vaden, and Zeppe all holding on to the FCs with very, very good accuracy on Amasetic and Zeppe, notably.
Yeah, you can see why they picked this now. Like, look at the 99.5 on Amasetic. Look at how upset Gardevoir is. It's a 2-0, I think. It's almost foregone at this point. We're halfway through, but we're already seeing 500,000 points. Vaden does find a drop, but it's not going to matter too much.
No, and I think Vaden is, by the accuracy, probably the least comfortable with this map on the team. Just under 95, whereas you have 99 and then 98s on the other 3 members. So if anybody was going to break on the FCs, it did appear that it would likely be him. But he said, really not going to matter a whole lot here. It's a 500k plus lead. Finland doing what they needed to on this pick to establish a massive early lead. And the little aim catches out Gardevoir, unfortunately. Not that it really made a whole lot of difference there either. You know, like, look at Arnold, right? He's doing what he needs to, but just doesn't have the team around him. And this is looking like a consolidated break point as we come into the last little section of the map.
Yeah, it's kind of a go next angle, isn't it? On a skill set like this, on a map like this. With those stats weighing so heavily out of your favor, it's... Let's just get through this. Let's just think about what we pick next.
There we go into the last seconds. It's going to be an 800k plus win for Finland when all is said and done. And yeah, from the outset, that always looked like that was what was going to happen. And so we're not going to dwell on it. And I don't know that we should really either. It is just going to be a matter of where do we go next. 2-0 to Finland, second pick to Peru. What do you opt into to try and find some better favor for your team in this pool? That's going to be the big question, and that's going to be a tough one to answer, but one that I suspect you might have a guess in mind at least, right? Hopefully.
It's tough. There's a lot of information out there about these two teams, but the head-to-heads from the groups, I mean, the gap in quals, it's seed 22 versus seed 39, right? There's not much to go off there with that skill cap, skill range pool. The group stage pool, however, showing a few places you could kind of direct your flow as a team. Finland obviously not wanting to pick into Hard Rock, and Peru doing quite well on it. Could it be the first time we see Hard Rock 1? I wonder. No at 4. Okay. Very swing tech heavy map. There's a lot of 1/3s in this. It's almost entirely 1/3s. I don't actually know how many 1/4s there are. I'm very brain off when I was practicing this, as you can tell. But it mirrors the Flake map from last year's finals round, in the sense that it feels like it should be harder to combo. But then at certain moments it trips you up with a pattern that you almost weren't expecting. And so, it's partially a swing tech map, it's partially an aim map, but I'd say mostly a reading map, mostly a focus map. Would you agree with that assessment?
Yeah, I think the focus element is something that I would put a high priority on, I think, with this. And that's maybe just my take on swing rhythm in general. To me, when you have the beat snap set up of swing rhythm, you always need to just be locked in on the focus on each individual circle and the finger control required to play that rhythm, because it's not something that's quite so instinctual as the 1/4, 1/2 types of rhythms. And I will also say that Peru had a couple of very good scores on last week's Nomad 4. Now, that was a different type of map. It was a little more of a straightforward slider tech, but that slider element that is present in this map is something that I feel Peru can probably do well. And they had, I think, a 3 or 4-way FC. They had 2 3.4 million team scores on that particular pick. So Nomad Tech as a general skill set, I know there's many subdivisions of Tech and you can't directly compare them all, but Nomad Tech in general seems to be something that they maybe punch a little above their weight class.
I'd say Hidden One. Oh god. I'd say Hidden One as well, being that swing tech map for the group stage pool. There's a comparison point too, and the comparison point is that Finland got rank 5, and also rank 40 if you were to leaderboard every team's scores on that. Peru sitting directly in the middle of both of those, so consistency is there for these guys. Finland's peak is higher, but Peru's consistent performance outshines that by a lot, and this is a great direction to take if they want to get a point on the board.
That was a really interesting note I made looking at last week's or group stages, I suppose 2 weeks Hidden One, where you had 5 but also 40, and then you had number 8 and number 23 and number 32 for Peru. A really wide spread of scores for both these teams on that particular pick, which did have those some of those tech elements in it as well. So
it's one and done.
Right.
It's one and done. Are they going to peak?
It's like, you got to put your best foot forward.
Yeah, is it the consistent performance that's going to win out, or are Finland peaking right now? I guess we'll see.
And Peru, who have some members who are maybe a little bit less experienced, will they be up to the task in the elimination bracket stage that you talked about being such a different experience than the group stage, where you have 3 matches? And so far in this map, it's so good for everyone, and everyone appears pretty locked in on at least the first quarter. As we're going to head into the Ki, we've yet to see a break. It's going to be Mike Tyson in for his first map, and I believe, assuming that was not a Bancho miss, he will be the first one to break. That's going to give the advantage nowhere, as Arnold breaks as well, and followed up by Pra. So it's just misses all over the place. We're down to Migis and Seviliu just like that. It's 3 misses per team already.
The 1/3's claiming some combos. It's always the 1/3 though. It's crazy just how much people struggle on these patterns. That BPM modulation that you have to go through. Think about hitting that sort of thing. It's usually snap patterns too. Mike Tyson finding some real difficulty adjusting to this. First map, swing map, into some stutter streams now, and we're looking towards the 2 full combos to hold, but also the support to be built. Sape and Pra both find a miss mirrored by Alad. And it is the support on Arnold, but no support going anywhere, I guess. He's the sole combo now as Miyu finds a miss. Full combo down. Seviliu on the other side, holding strong into the second chorus, Aaron, and these sliders, these 1/3s, not catching him.
Not catching him as of yet. He's got to keep it up because that lead is not safe yet to the final bell. But it is Finland, thanks to that continued full combo, keeping this lead up and continuing to grow. And the consistency element that we talked about so much before this map does appear to be heading the way of Finland. They've built up combo on Kalanlu, they've built up combo on Mike Tyson, and despite Arnold holding a lot of combo near the ending here, it's just not going to be enough. Sape, Pra, and Migis building what they can, but Finland have built more, whereas one team builds maybe a small house, the other has built a cathedral on this particular pick. And finally at the end, it's going to be Sevilla with the break. No FC will be forthcoming, but the victory already assured as we get into just the very end. The gap is going to come down a little bit. But there's going to be another break point going the way of Finland and a 3-0 lead. Well performed there by Finland. You got to give them credit, Civilio especially, with that 791k score.
Yeah, the credit. The S rank on Arnold, but the S rank also on Civilio. A great score, 800k on that. A great team performance for these guys. They're going to be feeling good after taking 2 quick break points off Peru and picking straight into their main skill set. The one that, again, we were expecting. We were absolutely expecting these 2 to be the first 2, or maybe the last 2 if they wanted 2 strong picks to end the match on.
Of course, at this rate, it could be their only 2.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. The next pick is Peru's, and it is, if we're going off the DT2 and the No Mod 2 from last week, and then the No Mod 2 we saw earlier, this, you know, I'm not gonna say it's completely over. We may be back later on, but it's looking bleak. It's like a swift left-right good night by the Finnish roster.
Having both these picks available to them, I think, was a big boon for Finland, because it meant, in all likelihood, it was 2 maps that they just didn't even have to think about in the pick strategy. You have to expect that they said, if they leave up tapping, we're picking tapping, and they saw Peru ban the DT3 and said, okay, we have No Mod 2, we have DT2, and there's a world in which we only need 2 picks in this match if everything goes perfectly. Everything doesn't always go perfectly, but so far Finland's getting what they wanted out of this match. And it's going to require quite the increase in performance level on tapping from Peru if they want to avoid being down a whole slew of match points the rest of the way, because, as you said, No Mod 2 earlier, DT2 No Mod 2 in group stage, none looking too good for Peru compared to Finland.
This much more comparable to the No Mod 2 from back in group stage. This fairly comparable, I would say, to the DT2 from qualifiers as well. And it's the same story there, in honesty. It's Arnold playing really well on that one. I think Arnold's going to play well on this one. Here he is in the lobby. But it's the long streams that differentiate this from what we were seeing last week. There's 2 or 3 that pretty much evenly space this map out into thirds, and if you don't have the stamina for them, you're going to really struggle. Or you could maybe eke out the end of the stream with 50s. And that's what it's going to take. It's going to take that lock-in. It's going to take that combo game. Making sure you hit everything.
We're going to have to lock in, as they have rarely locked in before, I feel, if they want to keep their chances alive too much longer and avoid that 4-0 deficit. It was a break right at the beginning from Zepe, so, you know, the start that Peru maybe would have wanted, but we will see. And maybe a little more comfortable with this BPM as well.
Wow.
Notably, the accuracy way higher from Peru on this map than it was at any stage of the No Mod 2. You've got 98, 99, 99. So maybe a world in which Peru finds a tapping map they're comfortable with here. Finland, likewise, relatively comfy. But they did have the break. There goes Gardevoir, unfortunately, right at the 1/3 mark. Foka Act down at 94. Hopefully they can continue to hold, but with Iki breaking as well, I maybe gave them more credit than I wish I had. I am so hopeful for Peru in this matchup, but it's not looking great for them, even with that break from Amasai.
The long stream's looking okay for both teams, but it's that base level of consistency. It's the fundamental ability to play this type of thing at this speed that I think Peru are just struggling a little bit with. Here's the last long stream missed by 2 players on Peru. Amasetic is down, being the only person to miss on Team Finland. I guess Zepe counts as well, but that was so early on. It's 2 FCs to 1 with that huge backing combo, and it's nearly 1,000,000 points already of advantage, Aaron.
Indeed, it is 800k and growing. Well, there was the chance for Peru, it felt, at least for a little while at the start, but as you said, trying to keep that combo game up, trying to make it through sections that maybe you aren't the most comfortable with, and unfortunately it appears that Peru indeed was not the most comfortable And a double FC for Finland on Vaden and Mike Tyson, a near FC from Zeppe just breaking at the very start, and a 1.2 million score victory, both tapping maps going quite similarly to the gain of Finland to the detriment of Peru, who now find themselves down 4-0 heading into their own pick, 4 match points before even thinking about a tiebreaker that Peru must contend with. Mr. Bubbleman, my good friend, we're a bit concerned now for Peru.
It's a real tough spot they now find them in. You know what? I would not be surprised if they just decide we're going parling. We're parling it up. Parling style. I don't know.
This is where teams have traditionally picked Palling over the course of the weekend.
Yeah.
So it is what happens. You're down 4-0. Let's just pick Palling and have some fun.
Funny eel map.
I'm here for it, man. I'm here for it. I would love to see it. And I mean, in a sense, there's aspects of that map that almost would be logical for them to pick into it. But also, it's just been the let's have some fun with this element of some matches so far too. Double whammy, I suppose.
It gives you a little insight into the mental state of teams, right? Like, if they pick Palling and they're 0-4 down, it almost feels like they've given up. Because it's... I'm gonna say it is kind of the meme pick of the pool. It's far more difficult than anything else that resides inside of it, but it's Fremod 3 that is the pick.
Not Palling?
Which is... Let me sit for a second and puzzle this one out, because Fremod 2 didn't go their way. That was 128 BPM, slow, a kind of ulti, techie, wiggly map at low approach rate. Didn't go their way. So they go... What was the next pick?
They went to Nomad 4
Okay.
as their second pick.
Swing tech. Swing
yeah.
flow tech with sliders didn't go their way. So, what, 170 BPM flow aim tech? Technical flow aim? You could see a world in which this is finally the number that comes good, right?
Well then, Fremod 4 they lost by 282k. The Fremod 2 they lost by 170k. So I mean, they kept both of those maps relatively competitive. It was a world in which, you know, a couple misses here and there, and you get a couple 100,000 more points out of a player or two, and they're winnable picks. So what I can appreciate here from Peru, regardless of any other factors, is I think this shows that they are wanting to stick to their guns. They want to continue with their strategy despite being down the 4-0 in the face of a lot of adversity. They're saying we're not going to go the meme pick. We're not going to go, you know, anything too crazy here. We want to stay with a map that genuinely feels that it gives us the best chance of putting a point up on the board, and I can respect the heck out of that.
So I think it's going to be pretty much the same story. Kalanlu is in. Arnold, I think, is going to match that on the hidden. We've got to look, I think, at some of the flow aim scores that were set. Because this is far more towards a flow aim skill set than it is towards any other. And, of course, you can discount the Nomad 2 because that was not at all like a flow aim map. Looking at the free mods, Peru didn't actually play Nightmare Invitation at all. That was the 200 BPM flow aim free mod. They did, however, play free mod 1, and that again was a mixed bag. Finland winning out consistently, but Peru were not very far behind. They are not out of contention on this, I don't think, including in that assessment their performance on Hidden 1. Let's wait and see.
I think it's Peru giving themselves a chance at a pick that feels like it's something they can genuinely do well on. And there you see a couple of early breaks from Finland on Isaac and on Zeppe. With Peru holding that four-way through the intro, they'll be able to build themselves, slowly but surely, a little bit of a lead. Which is something that they've had for precious little time in this match. I don't know they've held a lead for more than a few seconds here and there. And Zeppe getting fast slidered as well, so another break. this is going the way of Peru so far, but they've got to maintain that consistency. It's got to remain solid for much longer through these difficult flow and kind of anti-flow patterns in these KI times. And it's so far so good, as they've got this 4-way still intact through a quarter of the map now. It's 600 combo for all 4 members.
Looking good so far, but we come up to the solo, and that could all change. We got a little bit more of the map to go first. There is another pretty much identical section to fight these players off, and Kalanlu finds a small mistake, which turns into a big combo drop. 800 down now, splitting it pretty much in half as we're halfway through the map. It's going to be a big score cap, and Zeppe as well. Look at these combos, Aaron. Low and Alid down too. All the FCs are gone. Only on one side, however.
The first FC has finally dropped on Peru. It's Pra, but look, it's a 3-way reset again for Finland and Peru. Arnold, Sape, Migis. The triple FC through 2/3 map. The lead, 400,000 points. Dare I say, this is nearly, if not already, out of reach. And what a team score, just in general, that Peru's putting up with a 3-way FC. Yes, this is going to be one of the harder parts of the map. We'll see some breaks coming through, but it's another triple reset for Finland, and only Sape to match for Peru. And Arnold and Migis just keep going. The hidden on Arnold, the nomad on Migis, and they make it all the way through that solo section. What an impressive performance from all of Peru on this map.
I think this has contained the most surprises so far in this weekend. The team performances on this. Look at the cursor wiggling. Migu is so happy, I think. And who can blame them? Look at this. Point finally on the board for Peru. It's not out until that final light alights. Peru are still in this. Arnold still with the FC up to the ending. It is definitely, look at the blue bar as well, Aaron. It is definitely done. Sealed. Next pick. Let's go.
Signed, sealed, and delivered. Nearly 1 million score victory for Peru. That score is nuts, man. Like 2.8 mil, yeah, but look at the Arnold score. Look at the Miggy score. I mean, that is just so impressive. And the solid backing performances from Sape and Pra as well. Peru on the board, they're saying, we're not done quite yet. Don't say it's over. But Finland still has one of those higher BPM maps left. It is going to be a DT1. Finland saying, let's go. Nomad 2, DT2, DT1. It's all about the bursts at the relatively high BPM. With, what, 267 BPM on this one with DTA, or 10.3. So Finland just continuing to do their thing. They don't want us to get to see Pauling, unfortunately. They want to make sure that they close this match out on their pick here. But, man, I want to dwell just for a second on what we just saw out of Peru, because, man, that was such an impressive score out of the clear blue sky, considering the way the rest of this match had gone. That score that Peru just put up, in context of everything, was just wildly impressive.
Yeah, out of the clear blue sky. I guess a bolt from the blue is apt to describe it. Let's go DT1. Let's talk about this, because neither of these two got the chance to play DT1 last week or the week before. And we can't really look at, again, we use a lot of comparisons here to justify the analysis that we make on these teams. We've got Shinra Bansho in qualifiers that was so much more tapping intense than this, because this is solely focused on those slightly longer bursts into an aim pattern, into maybe a couple of kick sliders. Far less mechanically intensive on tapping, and much more DT1 standard, basic, high approach rate, and the OD too. Remember I was saying about hit the 50s, keep the combo? There is so much more room to be understreaming some of these streams and get away with it. This might just come down to an aim shootout. Nomad 1 was banned, of course, by Finland, so picking into DT1 here, saying we've got the speed for this, but do they have the aim for this?
And I feel that aim has been not a super popular skill set really for either of these teams. So it's going to be very interesting to find out. We haven't seen any true aim in this match. We didn't see much true aim from either of them in groups. So we're going to find some things out about these teams on this pick. And we've got Amacetic, we've got Vaden, we've got Mike Tyson, we've got Zepe, Arnold, Sape, Iki, and Pra in for Peru. Finland trying to close this match out on their second attempt here. A lot of bursts in this one, but they're fairly straightforward. And as mentioned, plenty of aim to come. Mike Tyson, the early break for Finland, trading with Sape, early break from Peru. And early poor accuracy from Peru as well. The discomfort may be present again. 92 on Sape, 93, and 94 on Pra. Something to keep an eye on.
There's much more towards the old style of aim as the DT1 pick. This a cryo map. I'm sure you're familiar with some of the other works. This, however, very apt for the slot. There's one of the first difficult patterns, that oblong rectangle shape. Both players hit it, combo through the rest of the section 2. So it's 3 FCs either side with a higher support for Mike Tyson. Eek dropping just after the break too.
He looking a little shaky with the aim and falling on that kind of square pattern. Pra next to fall for Peru. And all of the members of Finland, their 3 FCs and their big backing combo on Mike Tyson hold through. Still a third of the map to go, still time, but watch what that lead is going to do. It's going to be tempered just a bit with the break from Amacetic. You do still have the FC on Arnold, you do still have the backing score on Sape, but you've got a double FC and a big backing combo on Finland. You've got a 500k lead on Finland. You've got Sape breaking for Peru, and that might just be breaking the hearts of Peru's fans, as this lead is going to grow massively into the very end.
It accelerates wildly out of control. Those kick sliders claim a few combos. FC falls straight afterwards for Vaden, but it's 1v1 right now. Keeping the tension, keeping the peace. That lead is not going to move either way.
It is not. The score is going to, though. It's going to be Finland. 5-1. Finishing it off in style.
All right, okay.
800k, man. That was a straightforward sort of win on 3 picks in a similar skill set for Finland. They got everything they wanted out of that one, and they get to advance onward. They'll be awaiting the loser of the last match of the day. It'll be Germany versus Brazil, 19 UTC. That's the last match of the day. Finland will await whichever team does not win that one, whichever team loses that one. But we will unfortunately be saying farewell to Peru here as they exit this year's World Cup. 39 seed, getting through groups into the bracket, impressive in its own right. You got to give him credit there.
Yeah, it's hard fought and well won glory for Peru, I think. They're gonna go down in history as a team that really pulled through in the matches, maybe underperforming a little in qualifiers. Arnold as well. That score, I mean, the P score, I mean, through groups, playing every map for his team. Definitely something to be proud of for every player on that roster. Unfortunate to be sent home, but against a Finnish team that looks this strong and this synergistic, it was a hard task. It was a hard ask.